today to listen to the story of your life, your teaching, your studying, your lecturing, and your book production as a writer and as an editor. So we know your works, and your name is famous throughout the world with your diffuser, your acoustic diffuser. But perhaps it would be good to start with the beginning of it. I mean, where stood your childhood and what was your studies?
I didn't quite understand the last part of the question. Uh, um, how I got into the diffusers, you mean, or
No, no. I
no?
just said that we know you for your diffuser, but let's
Yeah,
start with the beginning.
yeah.
And so, where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in uh, not far from Göttingen in the province of Westphalia, what is now North Rhine-Westphalia, known to the French maybe as the Kingdom of Westphalia under Jerome, brother of Napoleon in Kassel. So that's where I went to school and so forth. And then when it was time to study, I selected Göttingen because there were many famous physicists here, Nobel Prize winners Max Planck, Werner Heisenberg, Max Laue, Otto Hahn, and so on and so forth. So um, in 1947, I came here as a student to study physics, but then actually I did my first examination, my diploma, my BS, you might say, in mathematics. Uh, but then in reality, I stayed a physicist. I never liked chemistry, so I went to my professor and said I could take this examination now, but I never went to the chemistry lab course. He said, okay, you can do it without, as long as you know enough chemistry. I said, I never went to a single lecture in chemistry. Well, he said, we never had a case like this before. But I said, I've attended several extra lectures in mathematics. Oh, he said, why don't you do your diploma, your BS in mathematics? I said, Professor, but I want to be a physicist. He said, no problem. On the day of the examination, you are a mathematician. The next day, you are a physicist again. And so it happened. It was that simple 40, 50 years ago. Today, I don't think it would be that simple.
You say you wanted to be a physicist, and yet you are attending the mathematic lectures. So and you are. We can see in your books that you are interested in mathematics.
Yes, you might say my deeper love is actually for mathematics. And as you can see from my books and my activities and inventions and so forth, they all have a lot of mathematics in them. They're really applications of mathematics, especially number theory.
True. So this first diploma, you are going to be a doctor. You are doing a thesis.
Yeah, I did my diploma with work on microwaves, electromagnetic waves, and I loved them. But my professor wanted me to do a thesis in acoustics, and I told him I'm not interested in acoustics. But then we found a compromise. I will do a microwave experiment, resonances in certain shapes, and we interpret the result in terms of concert hall acoustics. So that's what we did. My thesis then was published under the unlikely title of the distribution of resonances in concert halls, something like this, experiments with microwaves. So that's how my thesis was published, and I immediately became quite famous for it. And then when I'd heard about Bell Laboratories in the USA, and I asked my professor to recommend me, and a week or two later, I got an invitation to meet my future director from Bell Laboratories in London for an interview in the Dorchester Hotel in London. And he said, it will now take 6 weeks before we can make you an offer because you are not American, you are a foreigner. And the president of Bell Laboratories has to approve it, and it will take 6 weeks. And But after 6 weeks, I got a very nice offer for $640 a month, which doesn't sound like much money. But if I had gone as a PhD to Siemens in Munich, I would have made 500 marks a month. But $640 was like 2,000, was 5 times more. And of course, I would have worked at Bell Labs without, for nothing, without being paid. So I finished some work here, and then in September 1954, I took a boat, and of course, uh, being in love with Italy too, I visited some Italian friends, and then took the Andrea Doria from Genoa to New York. And while 2 years later, she sank. You may remember the Andrea Doria, and so then a whole new life started for me. I'm probably the only immigrant to the United States who was met in New York by a long black chauffeur-driven limousine with my director and future supervisor. And did we go to Bell Labs? No. We went to one of the best restaurants in New York for a wonderful lunch, and only then did we go to Murray Hill. Now, I had studied French, but I didn't really know, couldn't read French menus. The menu, of course, like many first-class restaurants in New York, was in French. I recognized only one word, Bratwurst, the German word Bratwurst. So I ordered Bratwurst, and everybody else ordered Bratwurst. And then there's something else I recognized, Löwenbräu beer. So I ordered a Löwenbräu beer. Everybody ordered it. It was very polite. Reminds me of a story of de Gaulle when the Chinese at a state dinner at the Élysée in Paris uh, ate the paper in which the dessert was wrapped. And you know what de Gaulle did? Saving face. He took the dessert and ate it with the paper, de Gaulle, to show them they didn't make a mistake. So this, my future director and so was were like that. I ordered bratwurst, so everybody ordered bratwurst. And at the next table there were flaming desserts, baked Alaska, and all kinds of delicacies, but they ordered bratwurst.
So they